did you do with my heart? What did you do with my heart? Oh! Aloha. I didn't expect to see you there. Yeah, one sec. Hello, hot dreamers! I'm back! So, in my souvenirs video, which if I can figure out how to put it up here will be right here, but if I can't, then there is a link to it down in the description. I told you guys that I would tell you about the time that I saw the Queen while I was over in England, and today is that day. So the story goes, me and the people I was traveling with went to Windsor Castle for the day, which according to the brochure, the Queen largely considers her home and spends most weekends there. And when we get there, there is a flag flying on top of one of the big round tower turret things, but it's not the British flag, it is the Windsor Queen coat of arms thing. I'm American, I don't really know what it is. I just know that it's the Queen's flag. And when that flag is flying, that means she's there. So we knew she was there, but we weren't really thinking much of it. We had these little devices that you hold to your ear and it gives you a guided audio tour. And they had one similar to it at Westminster Abbey, so I kind of knew how to use it. So we're outside and we're just kind of wandering around looking. And we're on this terrace walkway when one of the people I was traveling with decides to go up this staircase that people have been coming down while we've been walking up. Turns out that's actually the exit for the inside loop guided tour thing. But no one stopped us from going up, so it didn't really matter. So we went up the stairs and we were in this sort of triangular courtyard. And a staff member points out that across the courtyard there is a bunch of windows above a carport. And he tells some of the other people I'm traveling with that above that carport is the Queen's personal sitting room. Which, you know, we thought was cool. We took a couple pictures just saying, like, that's where the sitting room is. And he also pointed out that since it was about 2 in the afternoon and raining, and there was smoke coming out of the chimney, that there was someone in that sitting room, and it was most likely the Queen. So that was just kind of cool. We didn't think too much of it. And after a couple minutes, we went back down the stairs, we came up, and then did the inside tour. But at some point, we reached a guard chamber outside the old Queen's audience chamber from, like, really long time ago. And in there were 4 big marble busts of prominent British military leaders over the centuries, which I was finding interesting. I had my little thing up to my ear. It was kind of like a phone, but like a really long phone that you could like plug numbers into, and that was how you heard the bits of the tour. So I'm holding it up to my ear when I hear my aunt calling my name, quietly, because we're indoors in a British castle. And I look up and over, and she's waving me over to the window. So I go over to the window, and we are on the 2nd floor of the castle looking across the courtyard at the Queen's sitting room. And my aunt had seen a lady in a red dress walking past the window. What I thought was, unfortunately for me, I had missed it. I thought maybe I saw a lady in a red dress walking the other way, but I wasn't entirely sure, mostly because of the distance, and I thought I was probably imagining things just because I wanted to see it. And it felt like I stayed at that window looking out across the courtyard for like 5 minutes. It probably wasn't that long, but it felt like a long time. I know that I definitely saw somebody in like a blue blazer, maybe like a guard or something, walk past the window, but I didn't really see the woman in red who we, at this point, just kind of guessed was the Queen. And then just as I'm thinking about turning away, going back to listening to the tour and going through, I see her. Just a small woman wearing a long, sort of greenish coat and a headscarf. And at this point, I hadn't paid much attention to the fact that there was a green car in the carport. But this woman comes down the stairs that I can see through the window of the carport, goes around the back of the car, and gets in the driver's seat. Which, because we were in England, was on what the Americans would refer to as the passenger side, which threw me off for a second, but it's okay. And at first I was just kind of really wanting to believe that it was the Queen, because it was right below her sitting room and everybody had seen her moving before, and so I was just kind of hoping that I got the chance to see her too. So this woman gets into the driver's seat of this green Jag and just drives out down the path and then out the gates that we had seen earlier when we were out in the courtyard outside. And even though I was kind of freaking out because it's like, oh my goodness, that could have been the Queen. Really, what could I have done? We weren't allowed to take pictures inside, so I couldn't take pictures of this event. It kind of now just exists in my memory. So me and the people I'm traveling with go through the rest of the tour, listening to the guided audio thing, and go back outside, and we go to the exit and we're down in the courtyard again, which was kind of where we kind of started. I know that sentence didn't make a whole lot of sense, but just roll with me. And we found the same staff member that we had seen before in that same spot, just there, doing his job. And me and some of the people I'm with go up to him and tell him what happened, and we describe this woman who was in a long green coat with a scarf tied under her chin, wrapped around her head, and my aunt, who had seen the woman in red passing back and forth in the window of the sitting room a few minutes before. Actually, it was more like a half hour before, but shh. And when we told this staff member this, he just smiled and said, and I'm gonna do this in a really bad British accent, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Yep, that was the Queen. And I was like, oh my goodness! I go to England for 10 days, and I see the Queen of England, kind of in person, like not in a picture, in the 10 days that I'm there. I have lived in America my entire life, and never once have I seen a president of the United States, like, not on a screen. I was so excited, and maybe it's just because I am forever a lover of pretty much almost a lot of all things British, in case everybody didn't already know that. Yeah. But yeah, that was just a really cool story and an incredible experience. It was honestly the trip of a lifetime even without that in it, but it was even so much more amazing because that happened, and I am still really excited, and it's been a couple months. But honestly, how amazing, and what a stroke of luck and fantastic circumstances. So yeah, that was the time I saw the Queen. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it made you smile. And I haven't done one of these for the last couple videos, but this week's song stuck in my head is The Things We Used to Share by Thomas Sanders. And assuming editing me remembers, I'm going to put a link to it down in the description, so if you haven't heard it, you can, and if you have heard it, you can listen to it again. I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, year, and I will hopefully see you soon. I know my schedule just kind of gets crazy. It's college, guys. I'm sorry. And I'll see you later, dreamers. Look at all my hair. I've got so much hair. Anyway, okay. Long time. Editing me hates filming me, by the way.